Opening credits. Bring the sexy back with intermittent fasting. How I easily used healthy intermittent fasting techniques for rapid weight loss and maintenance. You can too. Written by K.P. Atten. Narrated by Araceli Gote. Chapter 5. Mindset is the greatest tool for success. This chapter is, by far, the most important one in this book, and it is the real reason why I'm sharing my journey with you. One piece of information and a simple mindset truly explain why I was finally successful. I did not shame myself for ending a fast early because I knew another would come. I encouraged myself by keeping it simple, always. For you to be successful in intermittent fasting, you need to have consistency with a good mindset. When starting anything new, the first few weeks tend to be the most difficult. However, you will find that your perseverance will be rewarded by the results you will see and feel at the same time. Intermittent fasting is a lifestyle change and needs to be treated that way, not as a diet. That means you need to continue for a while in order to see results. You won't drop the weight in the first week and then stop. Furthermore, it is important to be kind to yourself as you go through this process. People often feel like failures when they don't reach their weight goals or are unable to stick to a fasting schedule. Subsequently, they harbor negative thoughts about themselves. You build up a lot of stress because you want to ensure that you get things right, and this can be detrimental to weight loss. Stress hormones get released and block fat from metabolizing. There is a fix, and that is having the right mindset. Treat yourself kindly and allow yourself to work within the pace you can follow. If your body needs rest, then do just that, and don't be impatient to get results. You need to work with your body to achieve your weight loss goals. Set small milestones that are achievable while also looking toward that bigger goal. This helps to create a good mindset about celebrating the journey toward weight loss and better health. Talk to yourself as though you are already at your goal weight. Each day counts in the process of attaining your goals, and as you keep to your schedule and can fast for longer periods, you will start noticing changes that you will benefit from for a long time while following your intermittent fasting plan. With each hour you forgo eating, you are successful because it all adds up. So think of it that way rather than not being successful if you can't fast a few hours a day. How to create a great mindset. It is important to know how to create a great mindset, not just to be able to cope with intermittent fasting, but for your daily life as well. Here are a few things I put together to help you develop one over time, and you will see the positive difference it will make in your life. Number 1, keep reminding yourself why you are doing this, as it can become easy to forget when you are finding it hard to fast. Each day, when you get up from bed, tell yourself what you hope to achieve using intermittent fasting for the day, and remind yourself every couple of hours. Number 2, praise yourself when you succeed at every milestone. Take the time to celebrate these accomplishments and your part in getting there. Number 3, be your own biggest fan by believing in yourself and what you are capable of achieving. This means that you don't sugarcoat your weaknesses, but rather acknowledge them with your strengths so you have a realistic view while still pushing for a good result. Number 4, have a growth mindset, not a fixed one, so that you grow with each step, regardless of whether you accomplished an intermittent fasting milestone or not. You will find yourself embracing challenges and hurdles as learning experiences by thinking this way. Number 5, in addition to being kind to yourself, don't use negative words. Stick to positive ones. And don't bring yourself down when mistakes occur. Encourage yourself to keep going by using positive affirmations. This will reinforce your confidence and internal motivation. Number 6, create a personal plan around your goals. For intermittent fasting, you can list your overall goal weight and then several smaller weight goals. You can also include hourly fasting goals with the end goal of fasting for 16 hours or whichever intermittent fasting plan you decide to go with. I have created sample schedules in Chapter 7 that can be used in conjunction with this personal plan. Number 7, don't overanalyze when things go wrong, but rather think about what you have learned and if anything can be changed for the next time before moving on. If you constantly think about it, you are bringing in more blame on yourself and won't be able to get past it. Instead, forgive yourself and focus on the task at hand. Good habit creation. Having a good mindset is not enough to stick to intermittent fasting and be consistent with what you need to know on how to create good habits. Old habits can be difficult to let go of, and often these are bad habits that we build up over the years. To change this is a process in itself, but well worth it. Creating good habits goes hand in hand with creating a good mindset and following the intermittent fasting schedule so it all ties in together. You won't find yourself needing to concentrate on 3 things. Once you get your mind right and create a good routine around good habits for yourself, you will find that you can overcome hurdles a lot quicker and progress faster. List your goals. Write out what you want to achieve and why. It might be easier to envision what your life would look like once those goals are met. Think about how reaching these goals will make you feel and how your life will change for the better. Read through this often to remind yourself about why it is so important to keep going, making sure that these goals are clear with defined reasons behind them. Track your progress. As you lose weight, or even can go a little longer at a fast, note this down so you can always see how far you have progressed. Note how each milestone made you feel, so this reminds you and keeps you motivated. Always track your progress, daily, weekly, and monthly. No matter how small the accomplishment, make a note of it so that you can go through your progress. Keep focused. Negative thoughts have a way of creeping in when we try something new and are still learning. Quiet these down and focus on the task at hand. Remind yourself of what you are doing, why you are doing it, and how far you have come. Don't compare your progress with someone else. They are personal to you and your plan. Analyze hurdles. Track any hurdles you come across as well as why they occurred. This will help you to overcome them the next time and learn from each hurdle. Be wary of overanalyzing because you don't want your mindset to change toward anything negative. You must forgive yourself when these occur so you can get back on track. You need to avoid any negative thoughts and emotions as these will just bring you down and make you lose gumption. Celebrate with rewards. Always celebrate each win, no matter how small, by being your own cheerleader. You don't have to spend any money to reward yourself either, so you can be as creative as you want. The important thing is being able to celebrate a good job done. You can also rope in your family and friends to help celebrate your wins. Setting the end goal is important, but so is setting smaller milestones and celebrating those along the way. We often forget that the journey is just as important as reaching the finish line. When you start intermittent fasting, the first couple of weeks will be the hardest and will challenge you. However, by looking at your smaller accomplishments week by week, you will be made aware of how well you are doing. Hence, you will be capable of tracking your success in small increments. Every hour you can keep your fast is a win. Reward the achievement with something non-food related, like a trip to the movies or a new piece of clothing that fits better. You can even take a short trip, but always remind yourself how well you are doing. Information consumption and usage. It is always good to conduct more research on intermittent fasting and get more tips and techniques to add to your belt. Just remember not to get too bogged down in the research. Application of the information is the important thing. This will be what helps you make those changes for a better you. The most significant information you need to know is what insulin is, how it works, and how all this applies to intermittent fasting. I already covered all this, so you already have the most vital information to understand the process. You might find that there are way too many tips, tricks, and techniques to work through. Try a few and see if they apply to you and your lifestyle. There isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to intermittent fasting, and you would need to adapt what you learn to suit your time and body's needs. Remember that this isn't to punish your body, but to help you get back control, lose weight, and stay at your goal weight. Always keep in mind to maintain your motivation throughout the process. Share your victories. You might find it easier to work with more than one person to attain your goals, just so you keep each other motivated. You can share your weekly and monthly goals with them. Sharing your milestones with your family and friends is also a great way to celebrate your success with your loved ones and keep you motivated. A tip I gave to my friend who said her love language is words of affirmation was to ask her spouse to give her positive verbal feedback about how well she looked, how healthy she looked, how much energy she seemed to have. I told her to give him specific examples of how these can be used to great effect. Moreover, I asked her not to undermine her spouse's efforts by thinking negatively when the affirmations were given, but rather to use them as proof that love is being demonstrated and that she is being encouraged to continue. The lesson is that you should feel good about asking your friends and family to support your efforts in ways that speak love to you. Get rid of clothes that don't fit. As you start to notice your weight begins to decrease, you will find that your clothes no longer fit as snugly. Once your wardrobe reaches the point where your clothes are hanging off you, they need to be thrown away or donated to charity. Don't keep them, because you won't be going back to that weight. Your focus is to continue to drop the weight and maintain your goal weight. I'm not saying that you need to start replacing your entire wardrobe as you start seeing the weight come off. I just mean donating one thing a month as a motivator for you to say goodbye to your old weight and body. You need to keep transitioning clothing for a few months, and eventually you'll be due for a new wardrobe, having reached your goal weight. Chapter 6. Benefits and Drawbacks. In this chapter, you will find the experiences others have had with intermittent fasting, as well as the various techniques that they used. This should give you an idea of what worked and what didn't, so you can decide how to incorporate intermittent fasting for you. You will also be aware of any negative effects to watch out for and how to overcome these or avoid them as you start fasting. Millie Turnstile. Millie used the 16/8 approach as part of her intermittent fasting journey, as it is simple to do and one of the most common ways to get started. It meant that she fasted for 16 hours, but ate for 8 hours in a single day. Being a fitness instructor, she felt she needed to try this method out to be able to form a well-rounded opinion on this technique for weight loss and overall health. She didn't want to recommend intermittent fasting to her clients before knowing how it worked and having tried it herself. She looked at all the methods intermittent fasting encompassed and went with the 16/8 method for 6 weeks. She chose to fast between 12 p.m. and 8 p.m. In the beginning, she felt hungry as soon as she woke up every morning, and that was distracting for her to start her day well. After 2 weeks, she noticed that she stopped feeling hungry upon waking, and it became easier to fast for the full 16 hours. She also enjoyed exercising more because she felt more energized versus when she ate before working out. Snacking both during the day and at night stopped because Millie was able to get healthier meals in her body with a lot of vegetables to keep her full and give her energy throughout the day. She did feel that her coffee intake increased too much to her liking, and scheduling could be a little difficult if there were dinner plans or parties to attend. Overall, Millie enjoyed the results of feeling more energized without any side effects. Harry Reddy. Having tried intermittent fasting years ago but got cold feet right in the beginning, Harry decided to give it another go for a couple of weeks. Although Harry hadn't had any digestive issues, he started to notice positive changes in his digestive system after starting intermittent fasting. After each meal, he felt full but not bloated. He found that by fasting during lunch, he was able to keep a good work pace and be more productive in his day. He also started to feel more energized without needing more coffee, so he dropped his coffee intake. His caffeine intake had also decreased because he would start to feel on edge if he tried to drink the same amount he was used to. That meant his water intake increased, which was much healthier for his body. Harry could make better meal decisions, especially when it came to his sweet tooth. He found that he stopped wanting something sweet as often as he had completely stopped snacking during the night. His exercise routine had started to improve over time as he found it easier to exercise because he wasn't so tired. That meant he could increase the intensity and add other types of training to his exercise regime without hesitation. That's not to say that he didn't have any bad experiences. Harry found that his stomach became sensitive to some foods when he was breaking his fast, causing stomach pain and discomfort. So he had to track these foods and avoid them as a fast breaker. At first, he wasn't sure how much he had to eat during his eating period and would often overeat, negating what he intended to accomplish with intermittent fasting. That and the inconvenience of social events in between fast periods increased his anxiety in the beginning. Harry stuck to his schedule by working around these hurdles and adapting his schedule and the foods he would eat. That resulted in greater benefits to his body and mind overall. Eloise Smith. Eloise had a very busy lifestyle. She ran her own fitness business, did various sporting activities throughout the week, and studied part-time. She found that intermittent fasting worked for her because she didn't have the time to meal prep with everything else going on in her life. In the first 3 weeks, She found that the first week was the hardest. She was hungry throughout the day in the first couple of days, but slowly started to feel less so when waking up. Eloise felt more focused as soon as she opened her eyes, and she only started feeling some hunger much later in the morning. By the end of the week, she felt the energy boost she had been reading about and only felt hungry in the afternoon each day. It was around this time that she started to notice she had lost some weight, but hadn't felt any less strong. It helped her exercise routine to improve with better results at each workout session, and it made her feel stronger. Eloise noticed that in the following weeks, her sleep improved and she felt more motivated to get things done during the day. Todd Perdue. Todd had been overweight his entire life, and when he reached 40, he decided enough was enough. It was time to lose the extra pounds. He consulted his physician first about what his options were and was encouraged to learn more about intermittent fasting. When he was ready to begin fasting, he had a full checkup to ensure that he would be able to cope without any health issues. Todd tried the alternate day fasting method to ease into intermittent fasting as it suited his lifestyle and daily schedule. He found that he was able to safely lose the excess weight, but not at first because he would eat too much when he wasn't fasting. It took 2 weeks for him to figure out what the correct amount should be during that time, so that he was giving his body what it needed and could fast effectively. That was a huge learning curve for Todd and almost made him give up completely. But once he was able to overcome this obstacle, he started to notice the benefits of sleeping better and shedding the weight over the next couple of weeks. He kept checking in with his physician to ensure that as he dropped the weight, he was also not causing his body any harm. Katie Angelo. Katie tried intermittent fasting purely to test whether it was a hoax or not and ended up reaping a bunch of benefits. She decided to track her progress on her popular blog. She found that not having breakfast wasn't as difficult as she thought it would be, and it helped her be more focused throughout her day. Just before her fasting period could begin, she started to feel extremely hungry, and that encouraged her to eat too much prior and not be able to keep her full fast in the first few weeks. This hurdle almost caused her to give up completely because intermittent fasting was making her gain weight, not lose it. One of her readers suggested that she not binge eat, so she started looking into what she was eating and just how much. That helped her to change the way she was fasting. She started over by skipping breakfast only for a few weeks and substituting snacks with water. Once she felt comfortable going further, she started a more aggressive schedule and would drink bone broth and bullet coffee on days when she couldn't manage her hunger so well. Over a few months, she not only dropped the weight she had gained in the beginning, but also lost half of her original weight. Katie then experimented with more fasting methods and bringing in healthier foods to drop more weight and keep it off. Terrence Sinclair. Terrence attended his high school reunion, and when he saw pictures of himself, he was shocked at how out of hand his weight had gotten. He decided it was time to make a change for the better. He realized that he wasn't as active as he used to be and had heard about intermittent fasting after looking at numerous other diets and techniques before deciding to give it a try. Terrence found the first couple of days to be the hardest, and he would feel like he was starving. The hunger pangs were awful, and they made him grumpy. He kept at it and started to see the hunger pangs subside as his body got used to being given a break from eating. This also improved his mood, and he didn't feel nervous in the mornings, but was more focused. In just over 2 weeks, he stopped being bloated and lost a good amount of weight because he was within a calorie deficit by fasting. By skipping breakfast, he didn't feel so tired and overfull before starting his day. He was able to be more productive and had little to no brain fog. Terrence also saved a lot of time by not needing to prepare so many meals or thinking about what he needed to eat each day, and he was glad he didn't quit. Ivana Britz. Ivana wanted to learn more about intermittent fasting before she could recommend it to her clients in the gym that she taught. That was where she had heard about it in the first place, from people working out and sharing their eating regimes. She found it easy to skip breakfast as part of her fast, but she had been doing so for years already. This meant that she already knew that she enjoyed exercising while fasting because she didn't feel heavy but focused, strong, and had a lot more energy. At first, Ivana struggled to keep full during the eating period, but Once she had fuller meals, she coped a lot better and was able to stop snacking completely during the times she had to be fasting. She did find that she drank far too much coffee during her fasting periods, which could have adverse effects on her body in the long run. So, she had to taper off this and keep to a minimum of 2 cups a day. The rest of the time, she drank water. Moving to earlier dinner times and keeping to it was difficult for her, especially as her husband worked late and they were both used to eating much late at night. It took some tweaking of her fast schedule to be able to compensate as much as she could. Ivana was worried about hormonal imbalance, but found that she didn't have any 6 weeks into her fast, but to be safe, she did check in with her doctor throughout the process. After a few months, she started to recommend intermittent fasting to her clients at the gym and still follows her fasting schedule as best as she can. Bill Jensen. Bill was shocked to find that at a friend's wedding, his suit stopped fitting as comfortably, and this was well into the reception. He was lucky that his buttons hadn't started popping off one by one, and he felt so slow and drained. It was then that he realized that he needed to change his life around. Throughout his life, he struggled with weight issues and so went on several diets that worked then didn't. So he never really got rid of the excess weight that continued to increase and cause him ill health throughout his adult life. He blamed social pressures, stress, boredom, and anxiety for years and felt now he needed to start researching what would work best for him. This led him to intermittent fasting, its history over centuries, and how it can fit into his schedule. Bill didn't find it too hard to start, but was aware of his conscience questioning him each day because he skipped breakfast. After a few weeks, he could extend his fasting window and keep himself hydrated when he did fast. It took some trial and error for him to figure out how far apart he should be eating for his body to get enough nutrition. He also figured out just how addicted he had been to sugar his entire life. Now, for the first time, he could admit that and work slowly toward curbing that addiction. Bill also found that he couldn't do it alone, so he had a few friends join him so that they could all share their successes and hurdles and keep each other motivated. This helped him to make his weight goals after a few months and maintain them. He is still addicted to sweets, but he doesn't eat them as often as he once did.